Welcome everybody to a new session of Metatron Light Aspects United. After the introduction we had last week, we're here for another week. We would like to, each of us, speak our hearts around what do we think these sessions can add in terms of value to anyone who's watching. So we have in today's video, we have Susan, we have Nilesh, and myself. We'll get a short round around these hopefully powerful enough reasons, and then we'll introduce a topic that would configure the bigger part of the video, and we'll take it from there. Whatever else comes is not rehearsed or prepared, so bear with us a little. But without further ado, Susan, would you like to be first in terms of expressing your heart around why we're here?
So I know I wanted to participate in this group, connecting with other Metatron aspects, and is, you know, just sharing our like energy and helping based on our experiences, based on what our spiritual connections have brought us in our lives that might help with the awakening process of others out there like us, and sharing our experiences, you know, seeing where it goes, going with the flow, and hopefully, you know, our group will continue to grow, and we'll, you know, continue to connect with other like-minded souls, and support one another. So, in raising our collective consciousness.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Lovely.
So Nilesh, I guess your turn.
Okay, I think for me it's definitely vibration. I think each and every one of us has the vibration of Metatron, and therefore it's unique. It's a unique vibration, and I think it's important to bring all those aspects together because it's valuable. And we were sent here. We were sent here to bring in that vibration, bring in Metatron's vibration specifically. There are many of the vibrations. There are, you know, Archangel Michael's and Uriel's and Gabriel's and all of them. And I think, I think for me, it's really important to kind of like, you know, kind of like show really by example that, you know, we can all do this. All angelics can get together and, you know, have what we're doing now, you know, connecting, you know, these different aspects of Meti, you know, within ourselves, you know, or different aspects of Michael or Uriel or Sandalphon. It doesn't really matter because I feel like it's a unique vibration. I feel it's really important that we do this, you know, and it's fun, you know, it's fun to discuss different aspects. It's fun to discuss, you know, Miguel's different and Susan's different and I'm different, and it's great coming together with that, you know, same vibration, same heart, and seeing what we discuss because it's of value. It's of value. And you know, the dream really would be like, can you imagine like all of the Metatrons on the planet all getting together, all having one Zoom meeting? Wouldn't that be incredible? Can you imagine the vibration from that? Oh my God, like you'd have to lie down for a week, I think, you know. So you know, it'd be amazing. And this is kind of the reason we're doing this, and the reason why, you know, we're you know, myself and Miguel and Susan are doing this is because we're leading the way in regards to connections, in regards to vibrations, and we're also showing others how to do this too. It's really important. And you know, you were sent here for a purpose, you were sent here for a mission, and part of that is just stepping into that and doing it. And I know it's hard because, you know, both, you know, myself and obviously Miguel and Susan have found it hard, but we're here and we're doing it. So that's my expect, Miguel. So yeah, thank you.
Okay. So then I will also speak my heart in this regards. I think what I've been taught by the Metatron aspect coming through me is the necessity to have a helicopter view around those facets of life, to first understand them not so much from outside, but also from within, so you can help others move in the most appropriate direction. In this regards, what moves me mainly to be in this call is to be of help to anybody, regardless of consciousness, that is going to come across this video. It's also to display that having an aspect of the angelic does not necessarily define you as a museum piece. You have your life, we all have our lives, we have experienced life, and we have come to realize on the spiritual path that this is an aspect of us, which the only reason it is for us to share with others. So in this mission, I would love to touch those lives. So for those journeys that I've ventured in that have not been necessarily that easy, they can have an easier experience. For those in which they may have received or seen any obstacles, they can see the solutions to problems. And in these regards, I would also finish with stating that this is a call also for any other person out there that knows, has gifts, whether be it angelics or psychic or any other revelations on the spiritual, channeling, mediums, healers, to come forward with their truth, whatever that truth it is, because it's as valuable as any other, and to spread the word to the world. Because we are in such a critical moment in regards of we can make such a beautiful next steps for a world. But it all depends on whether each of you can move forward with the same courage as any others are doing. And it's not easy. I'm not saying this is so straightforward, but I'm saying that you got to understand that even the smallest butterfly makes such a difference in the world. So that would be that. I think with that, my heart is a little bit emptied. I wish you all courage and willpower. This is something that Metatron taught me in my journey. And you guys are capable, and we all together are capable of changing things. Beautiful.
Perfectly said.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I think I'm going to need a meditation. So, Nilesh, Susan, anything else you guys want to add in this regards? Shall we move, if not, to the main topic?
No, I think that was spot on.
Yeah, beautiful.
Cool.
Good. So, so you know, as we were mentioning, each of us is different, has a different aspect of Metatron, receives the information in different manners. For me, all this morning, I was thinking, what is it I'm going to talk about? Am I worthy of the call? And, you know, the information came, and if somebody's curious, it comes a little bit as a download, like if you were a supercomputer and it gets a download. And the information came around the importance of accompanying the move that we're in, spiritually speaking, and for that matter, any 3D existence, on the day-to-day choices around our lifestyle regarding nutrition. And it's not the perhaps most revelatory topic in spirituality, but if you allow me just a few minutes, I probably would change that perception. So this is not about removing anybody from their joys or from their choices or from their habits or from their refuge areas. This is also not about challenging or judging in any way compulsions or temptations. We've all had these. This is about providing a different view. So whenever each person feels entitled to, can take this luggage of options and implement them at their own pace. So this is the first governing framework that I want to call out. Having said that, all I'm going to speak about may be complicated, but let's start from a summary. What we're talking about is purity. Anything that you put in your body has the ability to make it phenomenally and easygoing or obstructed in some way. Now, we are not judging about the level of that obstruction. We are only saying that you can make it smooth or you can make it less smooth. We're all talking about the ascension process and the moving along dimensions and what does it mean in terms of vibration, the rising of vibration, the changing of vibrations. in food, there is such a thing of vibrations, right? And across the range of foods, you're gonna see those vibrations. I'm Spanish, you probably already noticed in the accent, but basically in Spain, there's the siesta habit. And anybody who has come across that culture would understand. Now, there's a reason why after a big meal that we have the Spaniards in Spain, the body wants to sleep. And that reason is basically density of foods that we consume. So I want you to kind of start from this point. Anything that you put into your body that makes you less vital is basically lower density by definition. That's neither worse or better. It's just a choice in which what you select has an impact about the next moments of your day you're going to live. Now, having said that, obviously, I would like to make a hierarchy. It would be somehow imprecise because, as you can understand, I cannot call all the foodstuffs, but I would like to start with a hierarchy of foods. We can start from the most dense foods, and in general, it's going to be everything that you need to cook to consume. Probably the densest of all would be the meats, would be the fish, would be the dairy products. Once again, I'm not judging. I'm just saying that they would be denser than the foods that come for next. Then we're going to have, basically, we're going to have nuts and seeds. Cereals would depend because you can consume cereals germinated, believe it or not, or you can consume them cooked. If you consume them cooked, they would be right after the meat, fish, and dairy. If not, they would be at par with basically nuts and seeds. Then you would get into raw vegetables. Those would have quite substantial high vibration. For me, I love in particular celery and carrots, but basically any vegetable would do. If we move forward, and now we're getting into the closer to light foods, the lightest foods, but also the closer to light, or in other words, the ones that have high vibration. Those are going to be fruits and raw honey. The purification possibilities out of those foods is immense. So it's not about tomorrow you eat only fruits all of a sudden, because you're going to experience it in your physiology. But it's about having this pyramid, being able for yourself to experience on choices and see what effect it has on your body. So I'm not going to tell you what effect it has. I've lived all that range. But it's about you taking the lead of your life to select out of that, what do you select every time you eat? And this brings me to how many times we eat. People say you eat every now and then. If you have this condition, you eat so many times. If you come from this culture, you have dinner at 10 p.m., etc., etc., etc. I think the most important thing is you are hungry when you eat. So I think that's your body guiding you to eat. It's also important to understand the number of times is not important. Sometimes it's better to eat more times and have less combinations of foods than eating less times and have all the foods together. And again, listen to your body for that. Your body would tell you if it is too much that it cannot be processed in your stomach, right? So it would be said by your body when that is the case. So point is, do not take any belief system or do not hold yourself accountable to 3 meals a day because that's what you've done all your life. Experiment with your body once again, see the changes that happen and choose wisely regarding this.
Yeah, sorry, Miguel, let me just interrupt. I agree with that. It's the vibration of the food that's really important, because I was a meat eater for the best part of like 40 odd years, and I used to eat the whole range of meats. And so as I started on my journey, I discovered that I could not consume meat anymore. And the reason I couldn't consume it is because I could feel the vibration of that particular meat that I was eating. So if I ate, like say, a chicken or a fish, I could feel the emotion of that particular animal before it died. It was already imbued in the meat. Yeah. And so it's funny because sometimes I've had fish and it's been fine. There's been no issues. I haven't felt any vibration. The fish has been happy. It's been okay. And there are other times I've ate fish that I felt depressed. And it's interesting because after I've consumed it, I could feel that vibration. So yeah, feeling that vibration is really, really important. And that's what stopped me. That was when I was when I could no longer, you know, feel. I understand that actually, you know, this is not the way, and I didn't want to feel those emotions, and I certainly didn't want to feel that from another being. I stopped eating meat and eating fish. I mean, I still eat fish every now and then, but only when I'm guided to for whatever reason. But yeah, I try not to. It's
and that's actually a very important point you raise, Nilesh, because indeed, and I want to make myself clear, everybody would receive a certain impact on emotions on meats. Again, I don't want anybody to believe this because I'm saying it. It's just that look at yourself when you eat meat and when you don't, and see your emotional status. And invariably, you're going to see that there's a little bit more anxiety, there's a little bit more nervousness. And this is typically because of how we handle the animals. Now, having said that, I'm not against meat and I'm not against meat eaters. I think everybody needs to walk his or her path. And sometimes myself, I've been guided to eat meat. I don't tolerate it, as Nilesh is saying, because of vibration basically range, but that's not an impossibility. That's not an obstacle in which I'm saying, no, I'm not eating meat anymore. Sometimes it may work. And I know this is difficult to comprehend, but I'm going to give you the following example. I went to a restaurant to meet with a dear friend of mine. And when I scanned through the menu, you're going to need to cope with me for a while, but I can basically sense what's the energy in the food. Because at the end of the day, we think that food's energy cannot be complemented, but it can totally be complemented. If not, look at the food your mother cooked and understand what was the feeling you had when you ate that food. There's a reason for that. So anyways, to not extend too much, when I was in the restaurant, I could sense that the lamb stew was the one with highest energy. And it had been a super intense day for me, walking all over the place, catching trains all over the different towns around mine. And I was depleted. So basically I had the chance of going with a belief system or a philosophy and basically not properly feeding myself with life forces, or getting that food on the menu from the available choices that would build my energy up the most, even if it was the one that perhaps on a normal basis I would not choose. So it's very important you point that out. And indeed, I mean, it's something that everybody would observe. I mean, one of the things that I've also been led to do under Metatron's guidance is to teach people how to feel the foods. People with not necessarily any acknowledgement or any interest in the spiritual lifestyle, but because of our innate ability and our energy centers in the body, everybody can basically test for themselves the foods. And of course, it takes a few steps. I mean, in my Facebook, it is publicly available, but I would not extend too much on the steps. But basically, the point is, any food with any low vibration or low emotions would basically, your body would react against it right away, no matter who you are. That's a fact. And so I once was in a supermarket, and there was this lady promoting certain meat, and it was a phenomenal lady. So we engaged in a conversation, and I told her, would you like to learn something new? And you know, this is where things can go wrong sometimes. But in this particular case, she said, why not? And I showed her, and she couldn't believe it. Anything we would take from the supermarket shelves, obviously meat containing, it was all riddled with those emotions. So anyways, to that point, this is something to bear, very important. Now, I'm talking about foods. It's also important to get yourself good water. And good water is not something to be paranoid about, but it's something to respect. So water is that life consciousness that, I mean, when we look at our body anatomically, even though if you go scientifically, they're going to tell you 62.5, 63, actually we are between 70 and 80% water. Yeah. Now that's a big chunk of water. There's a reason why we have so much water. Among others is why many people can connect with the subtle energies in the way that is being exemplified in this call and many others and many other posts all around right now. And so And this water has memory. This water has consciousness, amazing consciousness.
Yeah.
This water can be basically programmed, which would be the best word I find.
Yeah.
And it can be programmed to do exactly what you envision can be done. Now, you don't believe in this, just drink the water. You do believe in this, start working with your water. There are 1,000 mechanisms to do that, but the number one is to be grateful when you're drinking it. So that's the simplest one. Just be grateful when you're drinking it. Then there are many other things. If you start like looking it up, you would see 1,000 options. I mean, perhaps you, Susan, or Nilesh can share a bit on how you guys work with the water.
Well, I have my own well water, and I also have like a reverse osmosis system for drinking water. But yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying as far as, you know, having the purest source you can, I guess, obtain for drinking water, and everything that you've been saying about listening to your body, listening to what you're eating. I still eat meat occasionally, but I've been just gravitated more towards vegan and vegetarian cooking, and just eat meat occasionally as I feel drawn to it, for energy or what have you. But I don't feel like I have to eat meat all the time. Like some people, you know, we've been programmed that, you know, with our food pyramids, I know it's different in different countries, but about what we're supposed to eat versus, you know, yeah, listening to internally what feels right to you is important. And I grow my own garden. I grow like organic heirloom seeds that I purchase the seeds online, and I start the seeds myself. And being springtime here, it's just starting to warm up here in the Midwest of the United States, that I'm planting my own garden. So I would recommend that to anybody too, if you have space, even in containers. I do a lot of container gardening too, for growing my own vegetables, especially, and greens, and for salads and so forth. So connecting with your food, I mean, it's a way to connect to nature as well for me. So
yeah, I agree. It's beautiful. In regards to water, this isn't mine. This is something I got from another wonderful source being that I learned from. I have a water filter jug, and so I try and get a water filter jug that's close to being pH neutral. You can get the strips and you can dip it into water, and it will give you, you know, the different colors as to close to pH neutral as you can get, which is alkaline for your body basically. And so I have a water filter jug, because the water in England, and where I specifically live, is quite hard water, and they put a lot of chemicals in it. And if you can imagine that a lot of people, you know, put tablets down the toilet and all kinds of waste down the toilet, and so all of that's filtered through chemical process. So I have a jug. You know, I definitely cannot afford to have like alkaline water. We can't, you know, buying it in England is so difficult. And in America, you've got lots of great products, but here in England, not so much. And if you've got them, they're really expensive. So the jug is a great way of filtering your water. So I use filtered water to cook with. I use it to, you know, I use it to drink with, and I use it for all those things. And what I do with my jug, and this is not mine, like I said, this is something I got from another wonderful source being, is I actually write intentions on the actual jug. So I've actually wrote it in permanent marker. So it'll be things like my highest timeline, or it will be love, or it'll be purity, or it will be DNA upgrades, you know, any intention that you want from the water, you know, it will give you that healing output on my jug. So every time I fill my jug up, already those words are imbued in it, you know. And so when I drink it, or anyone else comes to my house and drinks it, they also get the benefit of it without even realizing. And you know, it's again, something I learned from someone to do this, and it is a great way of doing it. So those of you who aren't aware of it, please just write on your water bottle. And if it's one that you're using all the time, then write intention of what you want from it, and make sure you keep it, you know, specific. You know, if you want love from it, put love. If you want healing from it, put healing. If you want to be on your highest timeline, put, you know, I want to be on my highest timeline, you know, whatever is good for you. And so that's how I do it. Yeah.
So no, and indeed, I mean, it's absolutely everything, you know. I mean, I'm thinking right now because we're talking a lot about how sometimes the occurrences on Earth right now are bringing down our energy levels a bit. I mean, one of the ways I learned to cope with this effect or neutralize it or oppose it, more than oppose it, neutralize it, was to basically grab a glass of water. And with the intention, as you're saying, Nilesh, basically recite your own code of light. So that could be love, compassion, kindness, forgiveness, etc., or light, wisdom, or willpower, courage. Whatever it is that is going to load that water with high vibrations, it's going to do it so much easier for you in terms of coping with this any context that per se would bring your energy levels down. Then is wonderful the alkalinity or the pH level of the water. I think obviously each person in regards to what it is available is different, but for anybody that is saying, I'm having some trouble to get alkaline water, you can alkalize a little bit the water with lemon. And so a little bit of lemon according to taste, or also according to your possibilities, that would also alkalize the water. Now, this is important in particular because any alkaline fluid in your body, number one, is going to be opposed to any situation of unease. And it's going to clear up toxins. So right before, Nilesh, you were mentioning about the fish and sometimes getting a headache. Some of the fish we eat is unfortunately intoxicated with, among others, heavy metals.
Yes.
And these are which are clearly easy to generate a headache right after ingestion. For other people, I mean, for me in the past, it would be an acne reaction, not necessarily aggressive, but I would get a detoxification through the skin. And so all these things are part of a world. We have created a little bit of a world with some toxicity exposures, to be optimistic about it. And so there are always ways, and the water is a phenomenal vehicle to get those toxins out of the body. So is also the diet, according to what I said.
I agree. Can I just add one more thing? One of the things, my daughter still eats meat, so I still cook meat. It's interesting because I don't use the same crockery for it. I have a different pan that I cook meats with, and it's specifically for her because everything else is used for vegetarian. It's something that I learned from my mum a long time ago. When I was younger and growing up as a child, my mum used to use a different cutting board for meat as she did for vegetables, and I don't know whether she was aware at the time. But there obviously is a vibration to meat and there's a vibration to vegetables. So you used to use different cutting boards, and also different like saucepans to cook with meats, and lentils were different as well, used with different saucepans. But I do that. I don't know why I do it. I think that's just something I learned from my mum. But I also, as some of you may know and may not know, Sunday mornings in England is English breakfast time. So that includes like eggs and, bacon and sausages and mushrooms and beans and toast and your cup of tea. You can't forget the cup of tea. That's really, really important. So we have that every Sunday morning. Obviously, I don't have any of the meat, but my daughter still does. So what I tend to do is I tend to put my hand over the meat and I bless the food with pure love and light and pure source energy. And that's another way of reducing, I suppose, the impact of it too, because we do have vibration, we do have power, and we can use that to change our surroundings, and especially with the food and water that we put inside of our body. So I always bless her food. She doesn't know I do this, but I do it because I know that she still prefers to have sausages, and that's her thing, and that's fine. But to lower the impact, I bless her sausages while they're cooking. So maybe that's something you can use. If you're cooking chicken or beef or lamb or whatever, bless the food. You can either do it before or after. It doesn't matter when you do it, as long as you put your intention and your blessing and your vibration into it. It's all good, right?
Yeah, this is absolutely an important thing, I think. I mean, basically, you said also your intentions. I mean, and I want to make a clear distinction that has nothing to do with religion, right? It's not about blessing the food from a religious purpose.
No.
It's about being mindful, grateful, and joyful to have the possibility to get that which is going to build your body, whatever it is chosen, but that which is going to build your body. So.
Yeah, I mean, that resonates. I remember years ago, I read about someone who did a channeling with animals as far as what they think about people eating their flesh, and that the animals that are used as food, supposedly they don't mind being consumed as food as long as they're treated humanely, they're respected, in their life is respected basically, and they're honored in providing that sustenance to humanity. But it's also listening to how you feel internally about consuming meat. And I know I purchase organic, grass-fed, cage-free eggs, the free range eggs, or I try to, if I'm consuming it, I try to find what's humane. And what you're saying about blessing the food is great too, so I'll have to do that more in the future. So
it's just another way of like helping everyone really. And Miguel's talked about this before, not to be so hard on yourself. If you're guided to eat meat, there's a reason behind it. I mean, I've had many of those guidances, to eat meat, and I don't like it. I don't like eating chicken or chicken specifically it is, but what there's a reason behind it. And I went as far as like asking why do I need to do this? What's the purpose of it? And they're saying your vibration's too high, we need to bring it down. So that's why we're doing it. You need to eat that. And it's interesting because you only can eat it the one time, because I have tried eating it afterwards and I can't do it. But they guide you to eat it that one time. This is my specific journey. Now, I'm not saying that everyone else is the same, but maybe many of you can relate to this. But they get me to eat it that one time, and I do the avoidance. So I'm like, I will substitute everything. I will try corn, I'll try tofu, I would try everything first.
I heard root vegetables and chocolate are good for grounding.
Yeah. I might try that. It's just another way of them, because I was like, well, I've been vegetarian for a while. I don't know why I'm being guided to do this. And then your vibration is really high. We just need to bring it down a little bit. And that's one of the ways they do it. They do it that way. So, and eventually, I'll be able to stable it out. But just to be aware of that don't beat yourself up about it. If you're guided to do it and you have to do it, then do it. It's okay. It doesn't, we put so much connotations on right and wrong and good and bad. And I really think it's important we don't see it that way and just see it as guidance, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think one anecdote that was coming to mind as you were speaking this part is that I think what's important also is to bear in mind about the fact that food should never divide us.
Yeah.
This is something that is easier said than done. I'm mindful of that. But I think perhaps the best lesson is you are invited to somebody who's appreciative of your being, and that person has cooked with the total innocence a beautiful meal for you. It's cooking a foodstuff that is not on your belief system. So that's why I wanted to caution against belief systems in this regards, because if at that point you negate that food, I think it has the potential to, I'm not saying how people should act, but I'm just saying to be mindful once again about the possibility to make more harm by negating such a beautiful gesture of sharing. And myself, I was once very recently faced by this or with this kind of situation, and it was beautiful. It taught me many lessons, and of course I would not do it every day, in the sense that I also need to be mindful of myself. But I would literally ask everybody to think about how food should never divide us. We're not in any topic we're expressing to reach division, rather the opposite. And then in regards of the vibration, Nilesh, that you mentioned, I mean, beautiful example. For me, what I would say is part of my remembrance journey has to do with a lot of awakened psychic abilities or siddhis. And again, this is not something wow. It's something that everybody can reach at a certain state of awakening. Also, if that person wishes to or is needed for his or her mission, and they're teachable. So this is not a hocus pocus. I want to also be very clear about it. But the point is, when I eat meat, I see that connectivity shuts down temporarily until the system gets basically done or digests that stimulus. And so that brings me, I guess, with the last part that I wanted to talk about today, which is digestion. And at the end of the day is, I was very recently taught that it's not that I didn't know it, but I needed somebody who pointed out, like, straight in my face, that the body is not made for holding on to anything, whether it be thoughts, whether it be emotions, whether it be kind of patterns, whether it be food that is stuck in the system. So just like you guys also experiment for yourselves and try to not get anything stagnant in your body, whatever it is. And I think with these, somebody could get some help. So I'm grateful for that opportunity.
Can I just mention one more thing about food? I mean, have you noticed, like, when like mum's cooked for you, how it tastes so good? It's like, why does it taste so good? And like, people relate it down to years of practice, which is true. Years of practice of cooking the same dishes leads to perfection. But have you ever considered the point that she made it with love, or your dad made it with love, or your partner made that food with love? Have you noticed how different it tastes, when you eat it? When you prepared a meal and you made it with love, with that intention, because they're going to enjoy it, that they're going to love it, appreciate it where it comes from. Because food made with love, even with cakes, when you're baking with love, it has so much intention in that, and it's so good for you. I mean, what a wonderful gift, where someone makes you a meal or bakes you a cake or bakes you some cookies, and they made it with love, knowing the fact that you're going to really enjoy it. And that's why they're doing it. They're not doing it from their own selfish perspective. They're doing it because they know you love it, and they know that when you eat it, when you take a mouthful of it, you're going to completely enjoy it, and it's made with love. That's the difference. People don't always get that. So it's really important for you guys to know that.
Yep. Susan, anything else from your side?
Yeah, it's the same as infusing water with a vibration. If you're infusing with love or any other vibration, I'm sure food picks up whatever you're putting out. So just like water does.
I mean, me and Miguel have done a lot of the talking, but Susan, you've had a pretty difficult week this week, haven't you?
Yeah.
Talk about that, because I don't want people to think, well, we've just dominated the conversation, and we have. No, there's a reason, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about caffeine. I haven't fully given up my addiction to caffeine. I've limited it. I've reduced it to just like my morning coffee, but and occasionally in the afternoon if I have a slump. But I do try, as far as what you're talking about, alkalinity and eating alkaline foods, which detoxifies the body. I do consume like spirulina and
great foods.
Yeah, any green foods are very alkaline for the body and help detoxify the body. And apple cider vinegar is also another good one, but I think that's important for, especially keeping yourself overall healthy at a cellular level, is eating more alkaline live foods, which includes a lot of green vegetables. So
exactly, perfect. Yeah, moringa leaf is another one. Spirulina is another one. Wheatgrass. Yeah.
Chlorella is that was the other one I was thinking of. Yeah, I take tablets of chlorella.
Yeah, I actually have the powder, so I actually mix it in and mix it in with water, and it tastes disgusting, but it's the best way. It's just,
You can add it to smoothies.
yes, of course you can. Yes, of course you can. There's so many ways, isn't there? I just want to say, Susan's had a pretty difficult week this week, and you've had a lot of 3D stuff going on, haven't you? So I know, yeah. So next week, you know,
Yes.
Susan's doing it next week, so she'll be leading. So yeah, that'll be really cool. So Miguel, if there's anything else?
No, I think this topic can go on for ages, right? There's a lot of information. I think what's important is that each person takes it from where that person is, one step at a time. Give it a try. I mean, life is about experiencing, so you have nothing to lose, and feel for yourself. You'll find your own truths. This is about everyone finding his or her own truths. We're not here to bring anybody else their own truths. It's a beautiful process, and you guys are totally capable of doing that.
I have one more thing to add. So in like November 2018, I was diagnosed with diabetes. I managed to reverse the diabetes with down to like a pre-diabetic level, where I am now, through a lot of intermittent fasting. That fasting is very good for the body, and occasionally I would try, after dinner, not eating until sometime, usually like 12 hours. I usually go till probably like mid-morning the next day, and it helps your body kind of recover in a sense by giving it a break every once in a while, and it did help with balancing my blood sugar, and I tried like a natural supplement instead of taking prescription medication. I take now the names escaping me, but I take just like a natural supplement to help balance blood sugar, and there's a variety of them out there, but that's helped me. But intermittent fasting in itself can help with balancing blood sugar, and using more natural sugar substitutions has helped me reverse my diabetes. And I think it took me like 10 months to do it. So.
And actually, there's also an interesting part out of this, which is, and of course, each at their own pace. But basically, if you do that fasting and you do it at midday, so let's say you break the fast at midday, what you would realize is that actually you're going to start needing less hours of sleep to get the same level of rest. So this is a variable I was not thinking of talking about, but perhaps it's also interesting really quick, which is we tend to believe we need 8 hours of sleep, we need 10 hours of sleep, we need 12 hours of sleep. I think what we need is what our body requires is rest. And actually your body, each person's body is going to tell you what is needed. So that's also a very good kind of a mind game in which you can literally get more of life and more of the day out of simply choosing your food or your intake or meals with certain mindfulness. So that's totally doable. So yeah.
Yeah. I just remembered, so the supplement I take is called berberine. It's BERBERINE. And I take 500 milligrams 3 times a day with each, if I eat 3 times a day with food. But that really, I think, lowers my blood sugar by like 20 points. I mean, it really, when I don't take it, I really notice the difference. So, but that's an all natural supplements that supposedly it's used in other countries that it works as well as like metformin or like prescription drugs. It's been proven to do that, and it has other health benefits. I think it helps with your brain function, and I think it reduces cholesterol and weight loss, and I mean it has a lot of health benefits to it. So
that's amazing. Thanks, Susan, for sharing. And as always, everything we talk about, I want all of you to be sovereign about it. I want you to feel like if it resonates, then to, use the information, use the knowledge that you've learned and implement it in your life, but only if it resonates. and stand in your power. That's really, really important. That's the whole point of us doing these videos and sharing, you know, our thoughts, ideas, and knowledge and wisdom with you. So yeah, please do. We want all of you to be sovereign. We want all of you to stand in your power, and we want all of you to stand in your own knowing. So that's the aim, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think is that, are we done? Was that it? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you
That's
so
a
much.
good place to end.
Yeah. Miguel, did you want to end it?
Yeah, I mean, just let's say that we live in a miraculous life. So let's make it more miraculous and let's carry on. We're doing it. So peace, everybody. Thank you so much.
Take care.